boss fights are the ultimate test of skill, strategy, and determination in gaming. They stick with us long after the credits roll. Those moments when we face off against a larger-than-life adversary that challenge not only our gameplay abilities, but also our emotions. From emotional showdowns to awe-inspiring spectacles, here's our list of the top 10 best boss fights ever.
Your blood's gonna bed. I knew it was.
Number 10, Bloodborn. From Software has been giving us fantastic boss fights for years, and some of the studio's best work is on display in Bloodborn. It carries the high difficulty found in their other games, but with a heavier focus on horror. That means every single one of them will be challenging and possibly give you nightmares. Whether it's the early clash against Father Gascoigne or the arachnophobia-inducing Rom, the vacuous spider, the conflicts range from creepy to petrifying. For players who could stomach it, DLC further provided incredibly unnerving monsters such as Ludwig the Accursed and the Orphan of Kos. Bloodborne placed emphasis on the dangers and fears of being a monster hunter.
I will show her the path.
Ashley, run! The entire world shall have...
Number 9, Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was a significant step forward for the series and remains among the best entries. It doesn't hurt that it has some of the best horror bosses in video game history. After easing you in with some standard enemies, Leon's first boss fight is against a mutated salamander housed in a lake. Things don't slow down either. Because Las Plagas works, regular-looking characters will become monstrous behemoths when it's time to fight, making for grand surprise entrances. Most of the game's bosses are exceedingly well-balanced on top of being thrilling, and all of them were more polished in appearance and gameplay for the 2023 remake. Number 8, The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. Link has been battling beasts since the 80s, yet his most stunning victories are in Twilight Princess. With Hyrule overtaken by an invader from an alternate dimension, the hero must delve into the most treacherous places to bring Peach back to the kingdom. Standing in his way are all elemental monsters, from a Goron transformed into a flaming giant to a possessed Yeti encased in ice. Even those that don't offer much of a challenge, like Morpheal, at least still bring spectacle and wonder. They use their respective dungeons' items exceptionally well, with Star-Lord taking the top spot in the pure fun category. It all culminates in one of the best final fights the series has ever seen. Number 7, Monster Hunter World. Clearly, Capcom knows its stuff when it comes to crafting great bosses. The Monster Hunter series is unique as most of its boss fights are found by venturing into the wider world and actively looking for them. That doesn't stop them from being any less remarkable. While 2021's Rise was another grand entry, the fights in World just can't be topped. Whether you want to play as a lone wanderer or with friends, you'll find your monster slaying work cut out for you. However, some of them like Nergigante and Lunastra will be challenging no matter the team size. World epitomizes living in a deadly fantasy world and struggling not to be the next gigantic monster's lunch.
Do you hear me, Snake? We are the sons of the boss!
Number 6, Metal Gear Solid 3: Snake Eater. Many bosses are faced head-on, with players throwing everything they can to deal damage. On the other hand, those found in Metal Gear Solid require a bit of outside-the-box thinking. In Snake Eater, players track their former mentor after they're betrayed, but there's a whole host of operatives blocking their way. The Pain controls a swarm of hornets, the End provides a tense sniper match in a dense jungle, and the Fury naturally spreads his hate like fire. Meanwhile, the climactic clash against the boss is cinematic in its setting and storytelling. Each fight forces the player to approach it differently, perfecting the franchise's legacy of being unlike anything else in gaming. Number 5, Cuphead. With only a handful of regular levels, Cuphead primarily consists of bosses. Thankfully, they're all spectacular. After making a deal with the devil, Cuphead is forced to collect all the souls owed to him. For some reason, every soul belongs to something that will quickly destroy you. The game's difficulty is well known now. Most bosses are gauntlets with multiple phases that quickly get players raging. Dr. Cal's robot, Cala Maria, King Dice, and Grim Matchstick. Try as you might, they'll all congest your screen with varied attacks. But it only makes that more satisfying when you finally win. Even if Cuphead didn't have the charming art style and music, these bosses would still be fun. Number 4, Undertale. After falling into the underground, you learn the king of the monsters needs your soul for him and his citizens to escape. With his most loyal supporters hunting you, you can fight back or find peace. While the presentation is simple, navigating your little heart through each barrage of attacks can be challenging. The bosses of Undertale adapt to how you play. If you want to fight, you'll reach a level of challenge not found otherwise. However, going the peaceful route will give you more insight into the character until you can resolve each conflict. Their patterns, personalities, and humor are showcased perfectly alongside unique combat styles. Plus, the music for each one is legitimately incredible.
You can no longer hide.
Number 3, God of War 3. To be fair, every God of War game has some genuinely remarkable boss battles, but none quite reach the same level of epic brutality as God of War 3. In the opening moments, before you even step foot on solid ground, Kratos clashes with Poseidon in one of the best opening fights ever. He travels to the underworld to rip Hades' own soul from his body, has an all-out brawl with Hercules, and has the earth-shaking clash against Zeus he always dreamed of. Every one of them brings marvelous abilities and plenty of spectacle. You even get to fight the Titan Kronos, whose whole body acts as an arena. Something we rarely see. Well, almost. Number 2, Shadow of the Colossus. Players must find and defeat 16 majestic and imposing colossi to resurrect a lost loved one, which is definitely easier said than done. Shadow of the Colossus is mostly a boss rush, with spectacular art direction. Each of the 16 requires a bit of thinking, so you can figure out how best to approach them. While you'll have to climb them to reach their weak spots, hitching a ride and keeping it is part of the challenge. The colossi all feel and look different from one another, meaning there isn't a weak link in the chain. The satisfaction that comes from feeling one is unmatched, though that turns to conflict as you continue your executions.
In an unending curse.
Number 1, Elden Ring. We've already praised From Software for its bosses, but Elden Ring is beyond the comparison level. The lands between are overflowing with dangerous beasts and demigods alike, many of which will make your life as a tarnished troublesome. The Godskin duo team up to beat you down. Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy, has a chilling design, and let's not forget the fame and notoriety Malenia earned herself. Thankfully, you can call your friends for aid if they get too much. With more than 100 different bosses to be found, Elden Ring has both a higher quality and quantity than anything else From Software has released. No matter what the studio works on in the future, it'll have some mighty shoes to fill. And that's a wrap on our list of the top 10 best boss fights ever. Did we include your favorite, or is there an epic showdown you think deserves a spot? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this game, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your fellow gamers. It really helps us out. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on more gaming countdowns, reviews, and epic moments like these.